The 4th of July is one of the few commonly celebrated holidays that has changed significantly since the 1900s. 4th of July celebrations were much different, especially for rural folk. I've heard stories where people from a few towns' radius would all come to one local 4th of July festival, where the merriment and music didn't stop until everyone was well exhausted. One story I read centered around one such festival. A family who lived way out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by acres upon acres of farmland, baked a total of 300 pies to sell over, if I remember correctly, 3 days. And this was in the late 1800s, when one oven, of which the family only had one, could only bake a few pies at a time at most. 300 pies would have meant at least a week straight of baking, almost certainly more. 4th of July festivals were a huge deal. Of course, the size and length of such Independence Day festivities would depend largely on the local planning communities and city budgets. Some larger towns held multi-day affairs with planned events throughout the festival's duration. Other towns were limited only to a single day and were less organized and just had everything going on at the same time. There would be vendors, games, rides, animal shows, and of course a huge fireworks show. Now, of course, with great gatherings filled with food, alcohol, and fireworks, there was bound to be more than a few casualties. Every year, hundreds of people died and thousands were injured due to misshot fireworks, toy guns, which were more gun than toy back then, and general mishaps. In 1909, there were more people killed or injured due to 4th of July related accidents than people who died or were injured in the Battle of Bunker Hill. Because of this, in the 1900s, there was a movement to make the 4th of July boring. Of course, this movement didn't have much of an effect early on. Most people laughed the movement off and continued celebrating as they did. But lawmakers, women reform organizations, and the religious who never did like how the holiday was celebrated in the first place, banded together to make or enforce city laws and ordinances, and eventually statewide laws that gradually took the bang out of the celebration. In their place, many cities and towns held alternative celebrations, such as beauty pageants and large concerts. The 4th of July gradually turned from huge merrymaking mobs in the city or multi-day festivals in rural areas into small community-based events. And with time, those would gradually vanish too, with only a handful remaining today in larger towns and cities. Today it's much more common to celebrate with the family and maybe some friends and neighbors around the grill, and to set off fireworks if the city allows it, from a safe distance, preferably after a good rain. Though we still manage to have injuries in the thousands, when population is taken into consideration, deaths and injuries have fallen significantly. All for the better, I assume, though I do wish I could have experienced one celebration like that. And I don't even like huge festivals. So let's try a little bit of reimagining what one such festival could have looked like. Despite a rather lavish vacation for my roommate and I, we still have a little extra money left. So we decided to attend the 4th of July festival this year in the next town over. The morning of the festival, we do our routine and head down to the train station to join the crowd of people also attending to the festival. After paying for our tickets, we jam ourselves into the cars, and shortly thereafter, we make the half-hour ride to the festival, filling the time with excited chatter. By the time we get there, things are already in full swing. We disembark in the middle of the downtown area, brimming with what seems like more people than live in the town itself, and we walk around admiring all the decorations, displays, and stopping at the occasional vendor. And so we make our way towards the heart of the festival. We enjoy ourselves for quite a while just walking around and seeing the sights and listening to the music performed by various street musicians, tossing a few coins to them as we do. We decided to first hit up a livestock showcase in an empty grassy lot. We see huge bulls with massive horns and long shaggy hair. It must be hard for them in all this heat. We see pigs round enough to where it looks like that if they fell over, they would just keep rolling and rolling. We see sheep, goats, and rabbits too. Such beautiful animals almost makes me want to move to the woods and take up farming myself. And poultry. I see such a wide variety of
roosters.
I mean, just some absolutely beautiful
roosters.
Big ones too, with beautiful plumage. We start to hear a fiddle being played not too far off, and we decide to start heading towards it. We soon come up across a band playing in an empty lot. Soon we're swept up in the crowd of people, dancing wildly as if possessed by the god of music himself. Aside from the jolt, I still enjoy dancing with just about every person there in every style I know, which admittedly is not much, but everyone was having such a blast that didn't matter. Legs were kicking up and down and all around, arms were waving and hands clapping, boots stomping, all in a complicated manner that I could just not follow. Eventually, after more than a few accidental dings, bruises, and stomped toes, we call it quits and head away from the music mad mess. We decided to stop by even more vendors, my sweet tooth undoubtedly showing in our purchases. We get a bag of kettle corn, some shortbread cookies, and a couple cast iron toy cars. These will do just fine on the mental. By now it is late into the afternoon, and kettle corn and cookies do not a good meal make. So we stop by a vendor peddling some savory treats and get a dachshund sausage, something that I have been seeing more and more as of late. Kind of like a bratwurst, but the meat is a bit different. Served on a bun with catsup and mustard. It makes for a passable portable meal. As we eat, we wander over to the center of the festival when we notice everyone has stopped and are staring at the nearby building rooftops. One by one, each business, apartment building, bank, and so on unravel American flags all the way down the avenue until it reaches the courthouse where the flags are already displayed and waving proudly in the wind. Then, the starting of Yankee Doodle can be heard in the distance, signifying the start of the parade, and the crowd cheers in excitement. Cars, trucks, and horse-drawn wagons decorated with flags, ribbons, and flowers until not a stitch of the original vehicle is seen slowly make their way down the road. Not only are these floats adorned garishly, but the people on them, even the horses pulling the carriages, are too. We see floats depicting historical people such as Betsy Ross and, of course, the Founding Fathers. We see floats dedicated to historical events such as the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and even one with a red coat locked up in a cage. We, of course, see a few floats dedicated to certain political candidates and businesses too. The crowd cheers and the people on the floats shout "Happy 4th" and sing at the top of their lungs parts of the songs the band is playing, trying to match the fading music that is almost entirely drowned out by the crowd. Marking the end of the parade is a half dozen beautiful women spinning, twirling, waving, throwing, and catching American flags. The crowd claps and gives their final cheers before slowly dispersing. We continue our trans-festival route to the other side of the avenue. After passing a few more vendors and street performers, we come across a local school. Already in motion is a play put together by the school children depicting the Revolutionary War on a makeshift stage. The proud parents and teachers watching and mouthing words of encouragement from the small audience seated on various chairs, stools, and benches borrowed from the classrooms. We join the crowd and enjoy the rest of the play, the kids stumbling along their lines and fiddling with their uncomfortable-looking costumes. As a chorus of small children sing/shout off-key Stars and Stripes Forever to signify the end of the play, we get up and head off to enjoy some more of the festival. But now the sky is looking noticeably dimmer, and the horizon, or what I can see of it from between tall buildings, is a dazzling array of yellow and orange striped with puffy pink clouds. After a bit more walking, we're drawn to a crowd huddled close together before a small pavilion. There, standing in the pavilion, is someone giving a speech detailing some of America's recent major achievements, such as the winning of the Spanish-American War, and so becoming a leading world power with major gains in economic and military power, as well as starting to get our hands into the imperialism game. American scientists leading the way in many scientific fields. All of it ending with a promise of even greater things to come, and an announcement that the fireworks show would be happening in half an hour. If you want to get a good view, start heading towards the Quartz Garden now before all the good spots are taken. Please keep to the walkways. Following his advice, we leisurely make our way through the beautiful court garden, now in full bloom with a mosaic sea of sweet peas, daffodils, roses, dahlias, hollyhocks, and petunias. Perfectly maintained lawns filled the spaces between flower patches and tall oaks, elms, and dogwoods, with lush foliage loudly rustling in the breeze. We walk over a small wooden bridge and down a cobblestone pathway to an open area near a large pond with a few benches lining its edges. We find our seats on one of the benches under a large dogwood, taking a moment to catch our breath from all of today's excitement. It isn't long before my moment of relaxation ends as the area near the pond quickly begins to fill with more and more people. As the crowd grows larger, the sun dips deeper in the sky until pinks and oranges give way to reds and purples. It is then that the band from the parade, gathered at the opposite side of the pond, starts to play the anthem loudly enough for us to hear them all the way across the pond. This quiets the crowd as we all turn our attention to the far end of the water, reflecting the colorful sky now showing the first stars of the night like a mirror. The first firework is set off, bursting in the sky with a loud pop, sparkle, and lasting trails of smoke. After the first phase, another is set off, and then 2 more, 3 more, and so on until the whole sky seems filled with colorful dancing stars. The sparks and balls of fire playing about as if reenacting the war that won us a nation, and the smoky haze lulls us into a trance. The crowd is mesmerized into silence by the beautiful display. Eventually, the show ends, the smoke clears, revealing the deep blue sky spotted with countless stars reminiscent of our flag. The crowd cheers loud enough that we are sure the firework display's organizers can hear our compliments, and we all get up to leave. Some go home, exhausted from the day and needing to tend to chores at home before going to sleep. Some stay, not ready to recognize that this day, like all days, is finite and must end soon. For us, the celebration is over, so we join the crowd down at the train station, leaving the music but taking the memories.